Hi friends, I am Nipunika Shahid and the subject expert for today is Mr. Shahid Sayeed. He has put in almost 20 years in journalism with a good exposure of 8 years in print media and nearly 12 years in electronic media. Video editing is an art form. Editing is arguably the most important element of film or video production.
कितने आदमी थे सरदार
It is in the editing, the art of arranging pictures and dialogues and sounds, that a finished film product is able to communicate.
दो आदमी सुअर के बच्चा
People outside the film industry have little or no idea about post production and the crucial part it plays in the production of a film or video work. Edit means the systematic arrangement of shot is a story form keeping the time in mind and having a certain pace. This edit definition is simple and is meant for a student or a layman to understand. To understand the edit system deeply, we have to understand the aesthetic, imaginative, creative and technical aspects of the word edit. The history of editing is as old as the history of cinema. The earliest films in 1895 do not have editing techniques as these were very short films. Then in 1896, a film called Kiss got the popularity and encouraged more films in similar styles. George Méliès started making created stories. In fact, it was the birth of fiction and George Méliès is the father of fiction. But the editing was non-existing to minimal. Cinderella was made in 1899. In the next 30 years, principles of classic editing were developed. Continuity, screen direction and dramatics were emphasized through editing. In 1903, Edwin S. Potter started using usual continuity, which made the films more dynamic. He used the continuity in his films, which comprises 20 shots. In his film, he showed a simple shot with incomplete action. The second shot showed the same action starts from where the first shot ended. When these two shots are joined, a slick, interesting and complete action is seen, thereby established the basic principle of editing, that is, the film continuity. In his next film, The Great Train Robbery in 1903, he introduced the location change and time change through cuts. The indoor and outdoor shots were matched. Although match cutting was not there, his contribution, the arrangement of shots to present a narrative continuity. As we know, in the beginning, there was no video format. It was only celluloid films which were manually edited, virtually by cutting the film strips and joining them by hand. D. W. Griffith is the acknowledged father of film editing. His contributions cover the full range of dramatic construction. Now the question is, what are those shots or visuals which are joined together and give dramatic emphasis? To understand it better, first we should know what kind of visuals or shots we can join together. When camera starts and takes some picture and then stops, this start to stop shooting in the continuous manner is called a shot. The shots are divided into various compositions and these different compositions give birth to different forms of shots. There are extreme long shot, medium long shot, medium close-up, extreme close-up. Every single shot cited above gives a separate feel. These feelings are described as the explanation of shots. For example, extreme long shot gives the feeling of relationship of environment with the character or subject. The shot is very noticeable because of the amount of space around the subject. Position of subject, frame right or left, top or bottom are of critical importance for editor. This shot is basically used in opening sequences. Western filmmakers use this shot frequently. where the subject rides from the horizontal in extreme long shot to the foreground. Long shot is normally used when subject makes a complete movement within the frame. It comprises the entire body and is framed below the fact. Headroom is considerable. Here the subject is close enough to be recognized and far enough away to give some geography to a secure. Medium long shot is generally taken as movement shot. The framing of medium long shot is slightly above or slightly below the knee, but never on the knee. This kind of shot also provides ample headroom and space on each side for arm movement. Medium long shot can be made of a group of people, and it is especially useful in a complex or developing shot when there is more camera movement or attachment movement, that is trolley, crane, jimmy jib, etc. Medium close-up shots are usually used in TV format in one or two forms, either facing the camera, known as direct-to-camera, or three-quarter profile in first form. It is composed with adequate headroom and is framed above the person's elbow and below the armpit. In its second form, it makes perfect looking room. If the nose of the first character in first shot is towards right side, the looking room is on the right, then the next shot of other character would be on looking room on left side. Otherwise, the two shots when joined together, it gives the impression that both characters are looking on one side and they are not looking towards each other. Headroom is very important and is the distance between the top of hair and the upper frame edge. Close-up is a dramatic shot which magnifies facial expressions or draws particular attention to a specific thing. It is usually a full-face shot and composed from below chin. Sometimes it includes the shoulder line. Area of the face covers the most part of the screen. The movement is not easy. If movement is there, then the composition of the shot may alter, which affects the editing. In short, it is used for the detailing of the subject. Extreme close-up gives the minutest detail of the subject. For example, his shot could be of the details of eyes, mouth, or perhaps ear. Most of the detailed films enter frame. This shot is least used shot in the range of simple shots. These are the shots which earlier D.W. Griffith combined to form some extraordinary dramatic construction. He played with the emotions of the audience by using the shots wherever required and gives same dynamic formation to film, that is, he edited sequences with logical framing of shots. Continuity editing is the predominant style of film editing and video editing in the post-production process of filmmaking of narrative films and television programs. The purpose of continuity editing is to smooth over the inherent discontinuity of the editing process and to establish a logical coherence between shots. In most films, logical coherence is achieved by cutting to continuity, which emphasizes smooth transition of time and space. Technically, continuity is the responsibility of the script, supervisor and film director, who are together responsible for preserving continuity and preventing errors from take to take and shot to shot. The script supervisor, who sits next to the director during shooting, keeps the physical continuity of the edit in mind as shots are set up. He is the editor's watchman. If shots are taken out of sequence, as is often the case, he will be alert to make sure that beer glass is in the appropriate state. The editor utilizes the script supervisor's notes during post-production to log and keep track of the vast amounts of footage and takes that a director might shoot. There are several different ways to edit video. and each method has its pros and cons. Although most editors opt for digital non-linear editing for most projects, it makes sense to have an understanding of how each method works. Technically, this isn't video editing, it is film editing. But it is worth a mention as it was the first way to edit moving pictures and conceptually it forms the basis of all video editing. Traditionally, film is edited by cutting sections of the film and rearranging or discarding them. The process is very straightforward and mechanical. In theory, a film could be edited with a pair of scissors and some splicing tape, although in reality, a splicing machine is the only practical solution. A splicing machine allows film footage to be lined up and held in place while it is cut or spliced together. Linear editing was the original method of editing electronic videotapes before editing computers became available in the 1990s. Although it is no longer the preferred option for most serious work, it still has a place and remains the better option in some cases. It is likely that linear editing will be a useful skill for a long time to come. In linear editing, video is selectively copied from one tape to another. It requires at least two video machines connected together. One acts as the source and the other is the recorder. The basic procedure is quite simple. 1. Place the video to be edited in the source machine and a blank tape in the recorder. 2. Press play on the source machine and record on the recorder. The idea is to record only those parts of the source tape you want to keep. In this way, desired footage is copied in the correct order from the original tape to a new tape. The new tape becomes the edited version. This method of editing is called linear because it must be done in a linear fashion, that is, starting with the first shot and working through to the last shot. If the editor changes their mind or notice a mistake, it is almost impossible to go back and re-edit an earlier part of the video. However, with a little practice, linear editing is relatively simple and trouble-free. In this method, video footage is recorded or captured onto a computer hard drive and then edited using specialized software. Once the editing is complete, the finished product is recorded back to tape or optical disc. Non-linear editing has many significant advantages over linear editing. Most notably, it is a very flexible method which allows you to make changes to any part of the video at any time. This is why it's called non-linear, because you don't have to edit in a linear fashion. One of the most difficult aspects of non-linear digital video is the array of hardware and software options available. There are also several common video standards which are incompatible with each other, and setting up a robust editing system can be a challenge. The effort is worth it. Although non-linear editing is more difficult to learn than linear, once you have mastered the basics, you will be able to do much more, much faster. In some situations, multiple cameras and other video sources are routed through a central mixing console and edited in real time. Live television coverage is an example of live editing. Live editing is a fairly specialist topic and won't concern most people. To understand the cuts, we should understand the edit first. In a simple way, edit is the transition between two shots. It has three elements through which a transition takes place. This chart will explain you in a better way. Edit is a transition between two shots. Transition can be in a sound or visual, but this transition can be used in three different types. As you can see in the chart on your screen, it can be faded or mixed. Edit and cut is so fast that the transition between one shot to the other cannot be seen through naked eye. whereas fade and mix can be perceived by the viewer. Fade is transition which gradually changes the image. Example, black to nay visual or visual to complete black. In the very common language, we can say that there are 6 elements of edit which give a logical meaning of change of shots. They are motivation, information, composition, sound, camera angle, continuity. There should always be a good reason or motivation to cut either in the form of visual or sound. It can be a cut, mix or fade. In visual terms, it could be any action even of the smallest kind. May it be a body or facial movement. Its sound on any small pitch of sound could have become the reason for cut. May it be a sound of knocking door or it can be the sound of screen. Motivation could also be a combination of both vision and sound. This element is the base of all edits. It usually gives information. This means every new shot gives new information. So we can say that every new shot gives a different information to the viewer. More and more information keeps the interest alive and the viewer gets more involved in the program or film. Now it is entirely the editor's job to put as much visual information into the program as he or she can. Though normally it is not the job of an editor to create short composition, but it is the job of an editor to ensure that a reasonable short composition should be there. Example, you cannot cut from an extreme long shot to an over-the-shoulder shot if there is only one character in the previous shot. This element of editing is also an important part of editing. It is one of the most important elements of an edit. It works on the principle that each time when you cut or mix from one shot to the other, the camera angle should be changed with respect to the previous shot. While performing any movement, the person who is facing the camera should perform the movement or action in the same manner as he or she performed in the previous shot. Continuity of content. Picking up a cup from a left in the previous shot expects that the character in the next shot will be having the cup in his left hand, not in the right hand. Continuity of position. This is also important in the position of the actor or performer or a subject on screen. This shows that it is on the right side of screen in one shot, he or she should remain in the frame in the whole scene, unless there has been a change of any kind of movement of character A or camera on shot. Continuity of sound. Accordingly, continuity of sound and its perspective is of critical importance. If my action is happening at the same place and at the same time, then the sound will continue from one shot to the next till that sound finishes on screen or the location is changed due to the movement of camera or character. In addition to it, the background sound, which is normally called ambient sound, should also be there in all the cuts of the edit of the scene. As we have discussed earlier, that these 3 types of edit have certain elements which are to be taken care of. Now the question is where these 3 types are used. In addition to cuts, many special effects generators, SEGs and switchers let you create more elaborate visual transitions to get from one scene to the next in a video. The dissolve is the most popular electronic transition. It's a gradual blending of 2 images as they transition from one to the other. In visual storytelling, dissolves most often mark the passage of time or a change of location. The duration of a dissolve will affect how the audience reacts to it. Longer dissolves will slow the pace of the video, shorter ones will keep it moving quickly. The choice for you depends on the mood and pace of your project. Fades are a type of dissolve that typically mark the beginning or end of a scene. The fade has roots in theatre, where stage lights slowly turn on and off to signal the start and end of acts in a play. In a video, fading up from black to a title or moving image often signals the beginning of a sequence. Fading down from a scene to black commonly ends one. Wipes, which are animated geometric patterns that work as visual transitions, give you a creative way to get from scene to scene. Instead of blending images together like dissolves or fades, wipes use moving shapes and geometric patterns to reveal new images. The patterns may be simple, such as horizontal, vertical, and diagonal lines. On better switchers or SEGs, you will find more complex wipes. Venetian blind wipes and circular clock wipes are good examples. Some SEGs may also let you use shapes like stars, hearts, or other objects as wipe shapes. Digital special effects encompass an incredible array of transitions, including slides, squeezes, zooms, page turns, strobe, and mosaic, to name just a few. Each can have a pronounced visual impact on your story. If you choose a digital transition that fits the mood and pace of your story, it can add just the right amount of spice. If you choose an effect simply because it looks neat, you will probably wind up confusing the audience. And be careful not to overuse digital effects in a program. Too many squeezes or strobes can completely distract the audience from your story. In most programs, a handful of digital transitions is all you need to add some sizzle and move the story along. Since the cut is the one type of edit almost all of you can make, it's the transition you should start with when trying to improve your videos. But beware of the jump cut. A jump cut is a cut from one scene to another that is very similar. It is very distracting. You can cause a jump cut by cutting from a scene at one camera angle to another shot of the same scene from a similar camera angle, or by cutting from a shot where the subject moves in one direction to a shot where the subject moves in the opposite direction. In either case, the effect of the cut is that the subject seems to jump around inside the frame, hence the name. Jump cuts leave viewers confused and unsettled. Make it your editing goal to avoid them. The easiest way to fix jump cut problems is with cutaways. Cutaways visually move away from the main storyline from an instant to show details about a different but related part of the story. They give you a great way to hide or eliminate jump cuts. Although a cutaway interrupts the flow of the main visual story on screen, it leaves the story intact in the viewer's mind. As long as the cutaway itself is short, usually a few seconds or less, a viewer will perceive that whatever happens in the cutaway appears to happen simultaneously with the main story. You can use that effect to your advantage to show the audience extra details about your story while avoiding jump cuts. Another way to solve a jump cut problem is with a neutral cut. Instead of cutting away from the action with a cutaway, use a neutral cut to diffuse the edit's jolt yet stay with the main action. In a neutral cut, also called a Z-axis cut, you cut from a shot where the subject moves across the screen to a shot where the subject moves either towards or away from the camera. Aesthetically, the neutral cut diffuses the jolt of a directional jump cut. It lets you cut scenes with action moving in different directions without disrupting the action or confusing the viewers. If you sandwich a 2 or 3 second shot of a group of runners heading away from the camera between two shots of them taken from different directions, the action will appear continuous, moving in the same direction. A trick called a split edit can help make your cut edits even more transparent. In split edits, the sound from a scene cuts in either just before or just after the picture. Edits with sound first are called audio lead video splits. Those with picture first are called video lead audio. You may recognize the split edit technique from news programs and documentaries on television. In them, you often hear the voice of an interviewee a moment before you see him.
That you can do many different kinds of things. You can use
Hearing his voice first smooths the visual
use
transition to the
montage
interview
as a
segment.
concept.
It's almost as if you lure the audience's attention to the sound of the interviewee's voice and then sneak in the visual cut when they are not looking. It's a slick technique, and documentary editors use it regularly to get back and forth between interviews and narration. Split edits can also hide minor flaws on your raw footage. If you bump the camera during the first few seconds of your interview, an audio lead video split can keep the audience from seeing the bumpy footage. All edit controllers can make cutaways or neutral cut edits. But you'll need a more advanced controller if you want to make an automatic split edit where the controller handles the overlap of sound and picture for you. With a standard controller, you can simulate the split edit by making two edits. First, edit the complete interview clip into place. Then go back and insert a video-only shot to overlap the cut to the interview as little or as much as you need. As a rule, cuts are the best edits. A fancy visual effect every now and then can enhance the video. But keep in mind that wipes, dissolves, and other special effects leave a mark on your program and in the mind of your viewer. A barrage of slick edits may look flashy, but it can also draw attention away from your story and towards the edit themselves. Use digital effects sparingly to accent particular moments or events. A good way to learn more about editing aesthetics is to study major motion pictures. Most use the basic cut to tell the entire story, with an occasional wipe or fade to help mark major events. You can greatly improve your projects by adopting the same techniques. So friends, up till now we have discussed the types of edit, its elements, and where these edits are used. That is all for today. Till next time, goodbye.